It's just so easy, you know. We've known each other for so long. We connect and we just start talking, and next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, we've been talking for like an hour. We haven't hit record yet.
I know, right?
There's some really good juicy stuff that everybody has missed out on too. God, we just had a really deep
Let's.
philosophical conversation about the intimacy of anal sex and
Wow.
how it's the future of our country in an effort
Mm,
to stifle the
the turmoil.
growth of population, you know, because the world's
It's
overpopulated. And what better way to stymie it than
yeah.
commit everyone to
It's
anal sex only?
it's the one thing that will bring us all together after all
Mhm.
this bipartisanship.
And
Is
what's great is that anal sex is a fair, balanced thing because there's no gender inequality. Bud Light Seltzer.
it's a hard iced tea. I'm gonna drink it.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna see if I can get drunk on the podcast this time.
No, there we go. This will just get better and better the further we go. I feel like we're already off on the right foot talking about gender equality with anal
Uh,
sex. So
oh yeah, and to go with the
everybody's got a butthole and just got a
alcohol,
gun.
I also have a fucking new little single action cowboy style revolver that's, you know, it's
Ooh,
not
boy, you
loaded.
need to move out that there Portland area, boy. You better head on out to the rural Oregon. You know, you got
Rural.
your booze and your cowboy pistol. You're
Yeah,
in the
dude.
wrong city, son.
I'm trying to think of what my life would be like if I lived in a smaller town. Kind of, I mean, I grew up in a small town. I grew up in out in the woods. I grew up on a mountain, literally. Spent until I was probably 15, I think, 15, 16, up on Ridge Road in Coos Bay. Just,
Trying to kill sheep with 22s
I
and
mean,
being very unsuccessful.
we had a well, I didn't try to kill it. That was a story I was talking about earlier about a dog that attacked a sheep that we had on our property. It was my aunt's sheep because she had sheep at our place, and then she would use them for wool like every once in a while, but really it was just like we were just taking care of them. We had like a very tiny farm when I was growing up. We had horses, sheep, dogs, cats. Um, and that's most of it. We didn't have any cows or anything. It wasn't like a working farm.
Oh, okay.
And I never really got along with the horses.
Well,
My
they can sense
brother,
evil, so that makes sense.
what is evil?
No,
Horses?
they can sense evil horses, so maybe that's why. They knew that you were going to be a man who would grow up and drink Bud Light seltzer and play with a 22 revolver. So they're like, not today, young Joseph.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
guess, is it too soon to play with revolvers that are Western style after Alec Baldwin's murder?
no. Well, Alec Baldwin didn't murder
I
anybody. He
know.
was just sort of responsible because it was his movie set. But
Well, he's the one who
um,
pulled the trigger. That's
well, I guess that's
also,
true.
that's kind of why people care. Not that he was on the set. Like,
Well, I just mean, but it was his movie, you know. So it's
I
like
didn't know
he's
that. I
the
didn't know he was
director,
the
I believe.
director.
Yeah,
So was he the producer though? Because the
I don't
producer
know.
would be the person who would be in charge of hiring a arms, an armorer or someone who's in charge of the weaponry.
Hmm.
That
I
would be
mean,
them.
it was one of those things where I was like, that sucks. But you know, everybody's going to forget about it because if Trump wins the presidency in 2024, Alec Baldwin will have a job on SNL again, pretending to be Trump, and then everybody will forget about his whole movie debacle. They'll just laugh at
Yeah,
him
I think
and
people
his
have already forgotten about it. It doesn't
impersonation.
really. I mean, he killed
No,
the videographer or something like that. But it was, somebody put a real bullet into a real gun and he pulled the trigger, and they should all be ashamed and they should all be fined and found like civilly responsible.
hmm.
I don't know if they should go to jail. I think they just made a mistake.
They're like some actors that were talking about how they're not going to use real guns anymore on set because they were
Yeah,
talking about how
they
it's
probably
actually so
shouldn't.
easy. Well, I mean, they were talking about how you could just use a prop gun, but no blanks or anything because you can just use digital effects in
Yeah.
post production to just add the effect of the gun firing and stuff. So,
Well, and blanks are pretty obvious looking.
mhm.
That I don't know how you would mix that up with a real bullet. Blanks don't have projectiles, so maybe some of them do or something. Or there's fake bullets so that when you look down the, like in a revolver, it looks like there's a
Mhm.
bullet in there. When you load a magazine, it looks like it. But like, there's so many ways around not putting yourself in that position. I don't get what how could that ever happen?
I think it's just a probability thing, you know. But I mean, think
Yeah,
about how
there's so
many,
many.
how many prop guns are being used in movies over the years. It's gonna happen. I mean, that same thing happened. Well, not the same thing, but in what the Crow, Brandon Lee was
Yeah,
shot on
but that
set.
was so long
But
ago.
that was like a different issue where, like, I can't remember exactly, but it had to do with the gun being packed wrong or something. And so like it wasn't a real bullet, but the whatever was in the chamber shot out of the gun and hit him in the stomach, or I think it was the stomach or whatever. But it wasn't an
Oh,
actual bullet. There was just some kind of weird issue with the way the gun had been loaded or something. I
weird.
have to like look it up, but
Oh, I don't
I mean,
know.
like that shit's gonna happen even
Yeah.
though you have all these safety inspections and people that are professionals hired, it's just shit's gonna happen sometimes. So,
Yeah, gun safety is
but they
very
should definitely be
important.
held responsible because somebody should have double checked that gun before they
Yeah,
filmed that scene.
they
So,
all they at least 2 or 3 people should have been checking that thing before they went and pulled triggers.
yeah. But you know how fucking lax people get in their day jobs? I
I
mean,
guess.
I just like,
I mean,
I feel like everybody
sure.
I've ever really met, it's like you just get a little lax and there's things where you're just like, I'm not gonna worry about it, it's fine. And then somebody gets killed.
Well, that's what happens. You take things for granted, and then
Mm-hmm.
it shoots you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
But we're
Well,
not
Alec
here to.
Baldwin will shoot you in the face.
Yeah, it's kind of like when Cheney shot somebody like from
Yeah.
they went on a
Well,
hunting trip and shot in the face. But that's true.
yeah.
Like we like to we're really good at pointing fingers and pointing at everybody else's mistakes. Like no one's ever like that's obviously a bad one, but it was a mistake. Like we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
Who like what are we gonna fucking kill him because of it? Shit
Yes.
happens. Oh, yeah. I know you're a huge death penalty fan.
Uh,
But welcome to
electric chair
Fleeting
then.
Thoughts podcast.
Oh,
My
that's
name
right.
is
Yeah.
Joe,
Should
and
introduce the show.
this is Channing here on the other end of the
Tis
line.
I.
We're doing this through Zoom, like usual, and I think that's been working out pretty well. Not
Yeah,
too shabby.
I'm a fancier writer now, so I actually don't put Channing Cornwall on the books anymore. It's CH Cornwall. So
Oh, that's important.
a little more mysterious, you know.
What's your
People
middle
are like, what
name?
the fuck's the CH? My middle
Hank?
name? It's Hunter.
Henry? Hunter? Oh, that's a great
Hunter.
middle name. You obviously should be going by Hunter Cornwall, or just Hunter is your stage name.
Yeah, I'll just change it. I won't even put Channing Cornwall on the titles. I'll just say Hunter on the bottom. Be like, who is Hunter? And make it like a big mysterious thing.
Just
It'd be
Hunter.
solved in like 5 seconds on the internet, but
Yeah, especially because at some point you'd probably want to get credit for it under a name that your other books are under.
yeah.
So nice, good deal. How's your new book coming?
I'm still waiting for Vanessa to finish editing the other one. I think she's almost done. I don't know. Honestly, I'm probably gonna be done writing this other book before she's done editing the previous one. Because
That's
I'm like
okay.
halfway done writing another book right now.
Bank
I
those
just
books, bank the books, and then take your time editing them.
yeah.
That should take long time anyway.
Yeah, I'm not in a big rush. I mean, I had Anathema came out like towards the end of 2019, so it's only been a little like a year and a couple months since I've had a book come out. So usually I have one almost every calendar year. I have something done, but the editing on this last one's just taking a while. Vanessa told me that the reason why she's hasn't been editing it as quickly as she did the other ones is it's the last one in the Western Sins trilogy, and she told me that as she's reading it she's having a hard time with it because she just knows, like, based off where she's at in the story, she's like, I know it's a story that's going to piss me off. So she's like, I'm having a hard time reading it just because of the subject matter and like what's happening in the story. So she's like, it's not that it's difficult to edit, it's just the story itself is like giving her pause, and like she said it's just hard to read because it's about, it's all these characters that she said that she's really grown to love over the years as she's reread the books a couple of times and like helped me edit them and stuff. And so she said just seeing the things that happen to some of the characters has been difficult for her. So she said that's part of the reason why it's taken her so long is she's feels like she has to prepare herself when she sits down to read it. So I guess that's a good thing that it's a hard read in terms of caring enough about the characters that it's difficult to see the things that happen to them.
That is giving away something, and I'm not sure what to expect now. But I don't care if they all die, so I'm excited. I like characters in books, but they're not real, and I'm okay with author choosing to do weird shit to them.
Yeah, we'll see. It was a hard book to write because it was, I was writing about characters that that I, are like part of my life for like fucking since 2016, I think is when I wrote Hell Came With Her. So
Yeah,
it's been like 6 years that I've spent with these characters. And then
but
granted, for those people
they're
who've
not,
read the book, I'm not saying that like
yeah.
everybody just gets fucking murdered in the book. I just mean it's a hard book thing. Like, a lot of things happen. It's the final book in the trilogy. So we'll see how people take it.
They're gonna take it right in the butt. Like your characters.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Nice.
one character did in the first one.
Yeah. Wow.
Got raped with a
Yeah,
rifle.
that's great. All right.
For those of you who haven't read my books, you're in for a treat. They don't shy
Yeah.
away sometimes.
There's not that much fucked up content. Just a
Nah,
little bit.
I try to keep it not too gratuitous, but it's tricky. You're trying to balance like what's like sort of the reality of what people would probably do versus like how gratuitous that would be, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough to write about without just being super explicit because you're
Mhm.
trying to make it explicit.
Yeah.
You're
There's
not
like
trying
a
to
certain like
pussyfoot
shock
around it.
factor that you're trying to put into it, I guess, to like draw people in.
Yeah, and yeah. I mean, it's fucked up shit. You can write it however you want. I
Well,
mean,
you think that you've written like
there's
the most fucked up thing, and then there's some like sometimes I'll read a book or watch a movie, and I'm like, holy fuck, that's way worse than anything I've ever done in any of my books. Okay, I'm safe. I haven't crossed the line yet.
yeah, I guarantee there's nothing that hasn't been thought up by some
Oh yeah,
sick mind, some sick author's mind, a
I
bunch
don't
of
think it's a
weirdos.
sick mind. I mean, you're just
Sick,
exploring ideas in a fictional setting. It's better
it's
than
evil.
going out and doing real stuff.
Yeah, and I think the more you practice with creative writing, the more you let your mind wander and come up with like what if scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
What
people
gives you an
just don't really
opportunity to
think that way.
explore things that you would never do in the real world? Like I would never go out and just murder somebody. So it's
You
like
don't know that.
writing gives you that opportunity to be
You
like,
don't
well,
know.
let's say I wanted to, like, what does that look like? But then you get to separate yourself from it because you're usually writing about it from the perspective of a fictional character. So it's not even technically you that's committing the acts; it's this other person. You're just sort of a conduit to
Well, there's
get it
no
on
act being
paper.
committed. It's
That's
all in
true.
your
Yeah,
head.
that's true. That's
It's
all
all in your head.
imaginary.
Our imaginations get mixed up with reality all the time. We sometimes have a hard time switching, like understanding the difference, like with
Yeah,
video
and that's
games
what it
and
makes it
stuff.
so silly when you have like people who send death threats to actors or writers because of some decision that they made in their favorite fucking TV series or comic book or whatever, and then everybody's getting sending death threats. It's like it's a fictional fucking world. Just let it go, man. If you don't like it, then just don't watch it anymore. Don't read it anymore.
Yeah, I think stories wrap people up, and they, especially emotionally, people get emotional about their stories, and they start to, um, the emotions are real, and so they make it seem like the source of the emotions is real.
Mhm.
But
Also, I think people just don't have a lot, generally don't have a lot going on in their lives. So it's just like
fucking
a
pussies.
cipher for them to live a more exciting life. So then when, a creative comes along and does something that they don't like in this world that they've sort of taken ownership over, then they get a little pissy about it
Yeah,
and then
and
send death threats.
there's a tribalism in entertainment.
Mhm.
There's a tribalism in like your show and your community of people who care. It's like when people talk about video games and like what they want in video games, like they are the ones making video games. Like they're like, this is what we need in this video game next year in the next version. This is what we need. This is what we're we're gonna be pissed if we don't get this and that. It's like, shut the fuck up. Y'all aren't making nothing. You're just
That's what I
spending
mean. That's what
60
I
bucks
always
and then you play the game and then you throw it away. It's
that's what I
art.
always want to tell people when they complain about something. It's like, well, then why don't you go make your own game with those things in it? Like, shut up. And if you're that passionate about it and you're that upset about it and you think that it should be done or can be done, then go do it. If you don't like the way a comic book story's gone, then go fucking start your own comic
Yeah.
book and
Just
write your own story.
imagine a world where there are no video games. Now imagine that a video game comes out and you didn't even know that they were going to come out and then they came out, and then you got access to it, and it's super fun. And then after 20 years of that, everyone's just like, well, just make the game perfect the way I want on all this stuff. It's like, no, they're just making the games because that's what they do.
Yeah.
You just get to either enjoy it or not. And I don't know. It's just it's a form of entitlement that comes from uh, taking things for granted.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in a relationship when you um, don't think the person will leave you, and then you start to nitpick everything they do. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, fuck you, I'm leaving. And you're like, no, but I really like the other things you do. But I just never told you. I forgot about all those things.
Because I'm a bitch. I'm an asshole.
Because I'm a bitch. I'm an asshole. I'm
Oh.
a lover. I'm your mother. I'm a sister. I'm a brother. Because I know
Okay.
it's your mother. Isn't that a song?
Yeah, a lot of
Alanis
things.
Morissette?
Yeah, yeah.
Or
No, it's not
Fiona
Alanis
Apple?
Morissette. Meredith
Something like that?
Brooks.
Meredith Brooks?
Meredith Brooks.
Who's that?
That was the lady who sang that bitch song. I'm a bitch. I'm a mother.
I'm a
child,
sister.
I'm
I'm a
a lover.
brother.
Something like that.
I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm a lady.
That was
I'm
like
a
what the
baby.
mid to late '90s, I think, that
I
song
don't
came
fucking know.
out. Anyway,
I'm not a
whenever I'm
musicologist.
I feel like whenever I'm critiquing something, I try to like in my mind just be like, I just didn't like this for X, Y, and Z, and it wasn't for me. And then I just move on. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I don't dwell
Just
on it. I'm
stop
just
it.
like, this is what I liked and didn't like about this thing.
Yeah.
And
Just
I'll either look forward or not look forward to whatever they decide to do in the future. Like with Far Cry 6 is a great example. I'm like, I enjoy the Far Cry games most of the time. And Far Cry 6, I played through like 10 or 15 hours of it. And I was like, I just don't really care for what they did this
yeah.
time around. I mean, I don't like that they removed the kind of RPG leveling system. So I just have like one less carrot on the stick to keep me playing. But I could see how some people might enjoy that. If you're not into RPGs, but you want to play a really fun open world first person shooter, then this is going to be perfect for you. It was a game that just didn't check the right boxes for me, and so I'll just wait and see what they do next time, if they do another Far Cry or when they do another one. And if I want, I can go back and play an old Far Cry again that I haven't played in a while if I can get that itch. I don't know. I don't know why people can't just fucking chill out and just, if you don't like it, then just don't engage with it. It's such an easy concept that nobody wants to do for some reason, or at least a lot of people don't seem like they want to do. Everybody just wants to throw a fucking fit, talk about how everything's the worst thing in the world. Look at the fucking video game. The video games could disappear off the face of the planet and nobody's probably going to die. Probably. I mean,
well, they didn't exist a few years ago, and
yeah, it's just
nobody was dead back then. Nobody ever died before video
yeah, we
games.
just all have to move on to find something else to do. We should all just be thrilled that video games
Yeah.
exist and they are as fucking amazing as they are nowadays.
Yeah,
They're fucking incredible.
Have you seen
man.
the like 8K Unreal Engine 5 ray tracing upgrades of GTA 5 and shit?
Oh my god,
It's
no, I
like
haven't.
the future of graphics and the capability to process the graphics is very near photorealistic and undistinguishable as far as the graphics go. I was going to bring up something. You know what I think is crazy about future technologies that I think is going to change the way that people interact is filters that change your face to look perfect. I've been watching these Instagrams. Have you seen any of these? You're not on social
No, I'm
media, but
not.
I'm
But
sure
I
you've
kind
seen
of,
something.
I've seen the pictures with filters and stuff like that.
They're mostly for females, but they work for dudes too. And they essentially just do all this smoothing and this like symmetry, and it looks perfect. Like it doesn't look weird. It just looks like they have a lot of makeup on that makes them look good. And it's not their face at all. Like it's crazy. It just tracks their face perfectly, and it puts this fucking mask over their face. And pretty soon you can just put anybody's face on your face as well. And it's going to be
They have
very
those like
difficult.
deep fake kind of videos where you
Yeah.
can literally stick somebody else's entire
But they're
face or
going to
head
be
on
able,
your
that'll
body.
be like instant. Like that won't be, it'll take no processing power to do. So when you look at something on television, you just won't know if they're real or not. You just won't know if that's actually that actor. You won't know if that's actually what they wanted out on the world. People can fake anything eventually. It's going to be the idea of ownership and personality and impersonation, like people who do good impersonations of people then can put that person's face on them. And I don't know if they're going to be required to tell the people that that's not them. You could have actors who aren't the actual actor pretending they're the actor. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like a Matthew McConaughey lookalike who has Matthew McConaughey's face because of deep fake, and they just go do a movie and it's not him. It's just, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that's going to lead to. It's very odd.
We just all would need to acquire trademarks for our own faces. So it's like
I
plagiarism
think you're
or a
right.
copyright issue or something.
I think you're right.
If
But
somebody
then,
uses your
but
face,
with the internet, how does anyone stop you? Because there's so much
yeah.
unregulated stuff. It'll take forever for them to figure it out. If you're not even like this, if you're on Facebook, they could implement a regulation. But if you're not on Facebook and you're just on your own thing, who's going to stop you until
I
they
feel like the
figure it
only
out?
the only way they would really know is if it became like a really popular video and it, a lot of people are watching it and then somebody would be like,
Yeah,
you don't
it's
have the
just like how
rights to use my face in this
they keep
actually.
nudity off of YouTube. Like they
Hmm.
would just come up with an algorithm that figures out where it is, but it would take time for that to occur. And if it's not Facebook that doesn't put the effort into the regulation, then it might not happen at all.
Hmm.
It's going to be very, very interesting. I'm thinking like even like with porn, I mean, who doesn't want to see a very thrilling porn with their favorite actress in it? But obviously she'd never do it because that's not what she wants to do. But with deep fakes, any actress you want would be in a
Hmm.
porn. And I think that's going to be very troubling to actresses and models and females in general. They're just like, I mean, you could weirdly like find almost anybody and like just put their face over your favorite porn actress and it could look really realistic. And that's a major um like new thing that nobody's ever dealt with. Like,
Well, what the biggest issue I think. Well, I mean, the porn thing's interesting, but imagine like think about how much fabricated news is already like on the internet. Now
mhm,
people are going to be able to fabricate videos and then claim that it's a real
yeah,
video. It's just going to
you could
create
you could
a
fake
whole
the
tidal wave
president
of problems.
fucking a
Yeah,
pig. You could fake the president killing somebody.
yeah,
You could fake two presidents fighting. Who knows? I mean,
yeah.
the future of the truth might be the biggest problem. Like not truth necessarily like we think of it now, like fake
Hmm.
news and stuff, but like legit lying. Like obviously that happens too, but I guess it's just like how do you know if thing's true over this internet thing? I think what
Yeah.
what will happen is the premium will become old fashioned. The premium in truth will be face to face, like with no filters, and there'll be like a way to know if a filter is on.
Hmm.
Like we're having a conversation face to face, but if I didn't know it was you, it could be somebody else. Even with voice changing technology, like deep fakes for voices or deep
Hmm.
fakes for mannerisms or something like that. Like if somebody develops that, it could be very difficult to know other than when you're actually in person with somebody.
But then what if they have like a Mission Impossible mask that they're wearing where they just have somebody else's face and you don't know till they take the mask off?
I'd be more worried about that if I saw any lead up toward that. But yeah, I mean that's like I've been reading the new the Dune books, and in
Hmm.
Dune there's these this like group of people called face dancers, and they have the ability to mimic other people entirely. So like they will take on their exact appearance. They have their memories for the most part. Like it's not perfect system, and if you're really well trained, you can tell the difference. But they're essentially mimic people, and they
Hmm.
can go in and out of they're like chameleons or whatever. But if that were the case, I mean, the whole world would just be fucking totally different.
Yeah, we'd have to develop probably some technology that could identify you for like a DNA or something like, yep,
Yeah,
this
maybe your
is so and
DNA.
so for sure.
Yeah. Um, but that book was written, fucking long time ago, and he was already talking about, a lot of that
That's
kind of
what's
stuff.
fascinating about old sci-fi. It's like how some of it actually kind of comes true, or we have like a something that's really similar, like almost like on a parallel line, but the same concept, just executed differently. And then some of the stuff that they talk about that's actually kind of starting to come true or feels like it's coming true as far as like how society is operating these days and things like that. What are you looking up?
I was just writing down what we were talking about for the
Oh,
notes.
okay.
Sorry.
All right. Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
I could just see the lights of your screen changing. So I thought you were
I'm
maybe
doing
looking something
this.
up. And then yeah, I could see your
Typing, type, type, type.
phalanges
Well,
wailing
we
about.
just been talking about it for like half an hour. So I was like, well, I guess this is what the show's about.
Well, we should get our topic in. I mean, it's still
Yeah,
fairly early. It's only
there's
been like
plenty to
what,
talk
30
about.
minutes?
It's been about, yeah. Um, yeah, stuff, things. So what are you? It's a new year. Happy New
It
Year.
is.
Did you have a
So I
good New
thought
Year?
it'd be
Did
fun
you
to
do
do an
anything?
episode of I don't know if you want to do like a New Year's resolution, but like if you had plans for the New
Just
Year's, like
stuff. Yeah,
goals, you know?
stuff to work on this year for sure. I'm totally down.
Oh, excellent. Anything jumping out at you right away? It's
Um,
2022. It's the year that we'll probably still be in a pandemic all fucking year because it never stops. But maybe there's something exciting will happen this year.
I'm not particularly worried about the COVID situation, although it does pop up all the time. And
Well, that's because like cases are fucking blowing through the roof right now because of
are they?
Omicron. Oh yeah, Oregon's on its fourth consecutive day of record-breaking numbers. We had like over 10,000 new
Hmm,
cases today. So
hmm. Yeah, whatever.
yeah,
I'm not too worried about it.
it's
Most
not, I mean
people aren't
it's
really being, hurt too much by it. They just have it.
yeah.
It's kind of, you know what? This is going to sound insensitive, but this is very similar to if we gave a shit about the flu. Like
Oh
if
yeah,
we were like, oh my God, 25 people got the flu yesterday in fucking Portland. And everyone's like, oh my God, flu, oh my God, flu. And then they're like, well, did anybody die? And they're like, no, they just stayed home from work for a few days. And you're like, why is this news?
yeah,
And a lot of COVID is like that. I mean, there's obviously people have died and a lot of people have died. Um, almost like 900,000 or something like that by now. Or 600,000. I don't even know. I stopped looking. But for the very vast majority of people who get it, it's just like a flu.
yeah,
I mean, it's a little worse for some people, especially if you're not vaccinated. It's much worse. But if you're vaccinated now, a lot of people are like, the only reason I knew is because I got tested. I had no symptoms. And you're
yeah.
like, so that counts as like this alarming statistical anomaly. But it's
Hmm.
like no one gives, like, you had zero effect. It had no effect on you.
Yeah. Well, that's like the new strain, the Omicron. They said
Yeah.
if you're fully vaccinated, it's just like having a cold for like 3 or 4 days, and then
It's like if we tracked everyone who got herpes. Herpes doesn't do almost anything to anybody. We just don't like it. So why do we need to know who's got it?
yeah. Oh, I think the only reason why it's such a big deal is that because the hospitals are starting to get overwhelmed, and so that's really
Why?
the problem because I mean, because there's so many new cases, and even though it's only a small percentage of those cases that get hospitalized, it's still so many people that the hospitals get overwhelmed because it's like this huge surge of people that are on ventilators and things like that. They're
I don't
having
know
to
if I
call the
care.
National Guard in again right now to help
For
out at
where?
hospitals because they're overwhelmed. In Portland, I don't know if
What is the
the
National Guard going to do for a hospital?
they what they do is they take over kind of the menial task work, so that frees people up to that have like a like they can perform higher levels of care. We are freed up to do that. We had the National Guard at the hospital and clinics that I worked in, and what they did is they had them helping like deliver things to patients' rooms and like helping out in the cafeteria, just things like that, so that like the nurses don't have to go pick up things from the cafeteria to take patients' rooms. The nurses are available to continue just caring for the influx of patients because now
Hmm.
the National Guard's taken over delivering
Are
food
the
and things like that to
are the
the patients'
patients
rooms.
in dire enough straits to need hospitalization, or is it just people just go there because they're worried?
No, they are, because I mean they're not going to hospitalize. If you showed up and you have COVID symptoms, they test you, you have COVID, and then you're like, well, the most 9 times out of 10 they probably just send that person home. Like, okay, well, stay home, isolate till you're for X amount of days, get tested again. If you're negative, then move on. The people who are getting hospitalized are the ones that have to be put on like ventilators, or whatever else is going on. So they're not gonna hospitalize somebody if they just need to rest for some time. But
Hmm.
that's
It's
really the
interesting
issue, I think,
because
is that, and
so,
then that causes a problem with people who need care in the hospital that don't have COVID. They were in a car accident or were fucking shot, or like whatever plethora
yeah.
of fucking accidents you need to go to the hospital for. Um, there's less space for those people because so many rooms are now being taken up by COVID patients. So I think for people who aren't working in like the hospital setting, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't really affect you. But I think people, who work in hospitals, they feel it the most because they're the ones there every day trying to figure out where they're going to put patients and stuff because there's so many of
Do
them
they have
coming
that
through.
many ventilators? I thought at the beginning ventilators were like making things worse.
No, I mean there was a shortage of ventilators early on, but I think they're kind of at a point now where they have enough probably for as many rooms, as the hospital has. But that's like the thing that I know Oregon's dealing with right now is like trying to prepare, like do what they can to prepare for the continued surge of patients coming in. So we'll see. Like I said, the Omicron variant, they said it's like way less severe than the Delta and fucking standard strains. So yeah, I mean, I'm at the point I don't care. I've fucking been vaccinated. I'm boosted. If I get it, I get it. I'm sure I'll be fine after a few days. So Vanessa got it, and she fucking barely knew that she had it because her whole family actually got it. They all went to Portland as like a little get together thing one weekend, and they all fucking came back with COVID. And her sisters and her mom were pretty sick
Mhm.
because most of them weren't vaccinated. And then Vanessa was like stuffy, and she got tested and it was negative, and then like a week later, she lost taste. So
Mm.
she got tested again and then she was positive. And then they told her that it had been so long that because I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to go get tested now because I fucking live with you.
Mhm.
And then so I got tested and I was negative. And
Hmm.
I never had any symptoms. So it's like if I got it, then I didn't know I had it. And she was fine. Yeah, she's and well, mostly fine. She has a fucking inhaler now because of the damage it did to her lungs, but um for the
Hmm.
most part, she's fine. Yeah, now she's got to use a fucking
Yeah,
inhaler now.
interesting.
So it's fucking wild. But we were both fully vaccinated and boosted, so I think she just didn't. She wasn't, she didn't even feel it really. So
Yeah. Well, there we go. There's our COVID. There's our topic of COVID. We've
yes,
done it.
okay.
Let's move the fuck along.
Move
'Cause
the
I'm
fuck on. That's
done.
just
I
the
don't even want to deal with it.
2022 COVID update right there. Boom.
Yeah, that's the beginning. Oh, God, Lord.
I try to escape it, but it's like because of where I work, it never like all day I get emails with COVID update. It's like I can't unless I just
Nobody can
completely close my
escape
eyes.
any of it.
Yeah.
Nobody can. It's everything all the time for the last 2 years. It's gonna be everything all the time forever. Um, it's I don't
Maybe
I
we should, we should do, they should just shut the hospitals down to anybody with COVID, right? And just be like, everybody do what the fuck you want. And if you get COVID, just stay home and you're either gonna live or you're gonna die. We'll just burn through the population. Everybody will get it. And some people will die and most of us will be fine.
Yeah, I guess it's just the hospitals have to prioritize, and if they
Yeah.
deem the COVID patient more important than the other patient, then that's the hospital. It is interesting that the hospitals are they're privatized and they're usually really capable, and so it's interesting to see them pushed. I think that's like even if it was not privatized, it's really not the issue has nothing to do with our system. It has to do with um the quantity at which they can handle critical level patients.
Then that's really the thing.
That's it. I mean, but
I
they would
think
never be
most,
able to do this anyway. Like no
yeah.
system would be prepared for this other than um if you had a standby tent pop-up hospital system in place ready to go if this happened again, where they would just open up tent hospitals, um just ready to go for specific viral issues.
Yeah.
Like this is just anyway. Like I said, let's be done. Let's do okay. New Year's resolutions. Um, I
To stop
have.
talking about COVID.
Oh fuck me. Where science meets ignorance. New Year's resolutions. I don't know because I I I like have a pretty decent little lifestyle here.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So you're just gonna keep living life?
yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep going. But I think I'd like to take some guitar lessons because I don't play guitar with other people enough, and I think that would really up my learning
Mm-hmm.
to actually play with other human beings who know how to play guitar and other musical instruments, and to play in time with them and to play songs. I think that's what I'm missing because I think that I play every day and I play quite a lot and I know some songs decently, but I don't know a lot of songs. Um, but I think that would get me more of like, um, that's like the going to work part of being a musician, is like playing with other people and playing full songs through, in a way that isn't just me sitting in my living room all the time. So I think that would be good. Um, I'm always split about my job. I always kind of like, um, feel like it's just a means to an end, and then I also feel like I could do more. So maybe looking at potential, other ways to make money, is something that I'll be looking into. I've already put a little bit of money into advertising, my blog and advertising my photography on there.
Mhm.
And then also, my book reviews have been fairly popular on there. So I'm going to try to do more of that. Um,
Well, I must say too, even though I mean, like obviously I have a bias, but I feel like you write very good. But you like when you post your book reviews, I go read them, even if it's like a book I'm not really interested in reading. But you have you're very good at critiquing writing because you do it without it being overly long. So I don't like I don't know, like compared to other people who have written reviews, I'm like, oh wow, he does a really good job writing these. Like, kind of gets me to excited to read things that even I wouldn't necessarily be interested in reading. So anyway,
cool.
I was
Yeah,
just saying you
thanks.
should definitely keep
Yeah,
doing the
it's
book reviews. I think you do a very good job with it.
I appreciate that. I really enjoy reading, and I like to put together a quick, little summary of my experience reading.
Hmm.
Not I'm not trying to I'm not trying to like convince you of something. I'm trying to encapsulate what it was like for me to read the book.
Hmm.
And that way I can tell my own story about it. It's not just about, it's about like my feelings and my experience getting the book and who recommended it and stuff like that too. It's not just, um like this technical critique or something
Hmm.
like that. And I want people to be interested in reading. I think reading is really a cool hobby, and I think more people should read. So I try to make it kind of an enthusiastic expression. Um,
Well, the
so
thing with
that those are some
reviewing
things I want to keep doing.
well, the thing I was gonna say with reviewing books is that it's like you're reviewing an art form, so it's like the only real way I feel like you can review it is to explain how it like made you feel and what your experience was, because it's
Hmm.
not like a video game, where there's like a technical level to it, so you could critique like what the graphics look like or whether something ran or how much it crashed on you, like that kind of. But
Yeah,
like a book is, I mean, you could comment on the writing style and be like, yeah, it's a really simple writing style that didn't work for me or whatever. But I mean, for the most part, it's like, how did this make you feel? And
yeah. Well, and I have to actually read the book, so it
mhm,
like takes, a while for me to
yeah.
go through these book reviews, but over the course of a few years I have a few out. So those are some things that I think are providing value to other people that I want to keep doing. um, and Photography, I want to do more and more photography. I think that, I want to travel somewhere really cool and go film animals that I've never shot before. I want to get a couple new lenses, potentially longer lenses for birds and for wildlife, and to travel at least one big trip again. Like I took a trip to Hawaii this year. I was lucky enough to do that, and so I want to do something else in 2022. Bring my camera and take a shit ton of pictures, and then go out and take pictures locally as well.
Mhm.
Um, I thought it might be kind of fun if I had the ability to like move to a different place every year and just take pictures of the local wildlife like I do here. But I'm just kind of like, I've been to the same places in Portland so many times. I've captured a lot of the wildlife in Portland and in some surrounding areas in Oregon. But I, I've never been to like New York and took
Mhm.
pictures of the local animals there, or Montana, or Florida, or it would be cool to just go to each state and just like create a year's worth of photography for that area, and just the local stuff you can find in the parks and in the forests and things like that. But that would require me moving, and um, I don't have the money to just go fucking travel like that. Um,
Well, it's
but I
like you'd
could
have to
travel
move, and then
once,
you have to like every year you'd have to find a new job at the place that you moved to, because
yeah, and
and
just
at
live
least
there.
until
Yeah.
unless your photography got big enough where you could sustain yourself on.
Just do that.
what you
Yeah.
made on that, but because then you'd almost be like a travel writer or travel photographer, I
Photographer.
guess, at that
Yeah.
point.
I think just getting closer to that as like, just because it's fun. I like
Mhm.
doing that. So if I can do at least one big trip to somewhere else, um, I've talked to um my mom about maybe going to Yellowstone or
Well,
something
that'd
like
be cool.
that. I've
Mhm.
never been there. Seems really awesome. Lots of cool wildlife. Alaska would be really cool. I know Florida has a lot of crazy wildlife. Um, and
Well, I mean, you could just photograph the humans of Florida, and it'd be
I
like a
know they
whole
all have
new
like weird hair
wildlife.
and
Yeah, just
weird arms, one
that'd be
arm.
an experience all on its own.
Yeah. Yeah, Florida is a funny place. Um, but
So
I've
is
never
Portland, though.
traveled
I'm
there.
sure you could, you could shift
Yeah.
your focus for a little while just to the people of Portland, and it'd be quite the menagerie.
Yeah, if I was in any way interested in looking at weirdos, I would do it. But I have no interest in permanently like capturing people. I think
Hmm.
they are already being captured way more than they need to be
Hmm.
through video and photography, and I couldn't care less looking at the only people I like to look at are hotties on the internet.
Yeah,
That's
right. Of
about it.
course, of course.
And you know what?
And you don't even
Those are
know if
pictures
that's what they
I'd
really
be.
look like. It could just be the filter. You'd
Yeah,
be
I
looking at
know.
them filtered hotties on the internet.
Hashtag filtered hotties,
Hmm.
which is the name of my new coffee shop. Um, I don't know. That would work, right?
I mean, they had that coffee shop in Springfield where they all wore bikinis. So,
Yeah, I went there a few times. They have one here right by my house. I
oh,
don't go
really?
there. Yeah, it's like a bikini fucking coffee shop. Um, I think you have to be. They actually had really good coffee in Springfield. It was right by my house in
Yeah, I
Springfield, and I
remember.
went there every once in a while just because it was like very convenient. And I remember it was the most awkward place to get coffee in the world.
Did you know, like, before the first time you went that they dressed
I
that?
don't
Like,
think
that
I
was their
did.
dress
I
code? So
don't think I
you
did.
just rolled up and then they opened the
Hmm.
window and you're like, holy hi.
Yeah, it does kind of break the ice in a small way anyway. Like, because
Mhm.
in a normal coffee situation, if the barista isn't very talkative, like nobody's saying nothing. Um, but in that situation, it's already silly. It's all like they get it. It's silly. It doesn't, like you can be really awkward about it, but it's also um, like what the fuck is going on right now? Like, why are you, it's like, like 40
It's
degrees
30 degree,
outside.
yeah,
Yeah.
30
What are
degrees
you
out
doing?
here. The
I'm so
fuck?
sorry. Everyone's just like, oh, are you warm enough? Do you have a heater in there? And they're just like, it's like, I don't give a shit about you.
As their nipples are just cutting
Yeah.
through their fucking bikini tops.
Why not
Yeah,
just
it's
take your
totally
shirt
warm in
off
here.
and I'll
Yeah.
give you a much bigger tip. Anyway, yeah, it's a weird scenario, but tits and sex sells, so why not?
It really does. And people just need to accept it, you know? I feel like
Yeah.
society is like, oh, we're better than that. Let's try to change. And I'm like,
Why? Better than what?
if I feel like if the person that is on display to sell something is cool with it, then fucking let it be, you know?
Let it be.
There's ripped dudes on romance book covers. I mean, it goes both ways. Sex sells no matter which gender you are or sex you are or
Everybody's obsessed.
yeah.
Obsessed with
We all just want
sex.
to fuck all the time and we just don't want to admit it because we want to think we're better than our those primal savage natures
This
that
whole thing
we
started
harbor.
off with you talking about how anal sex is going to solve all our problems. So
That was the just to solve the population
even
problem.
though I think it contributed to the AIDS epidemic in the 80s, but whatever.
Yeah, but you can live with AIDS just fine these days. Our medicine's advanced enough, and if you have the money to pay for the treatments, you'll be okay.
Yeah, I remember when AIDS was like a scary thing. It
That's
was,
like a
it
has-been
was,
disease, you know.
yeah, it
Cancer's the
really
big thing.
is.
Oh,
Well,
you got
COVID's the
AIDS?
big
Oh,
thing.
that sucks. But just pop some extra pills every day, you'll be fine.
Yeah. At least you
Oh,
don't have cancer or
yeah.
COVID.
Or
The
COVID.
two C
At
words.
least you don't have that 4-day cold that they call COVID.
Yeah. Oh
You'd be
man.
dying from that right now.
Oh, that fucking 4-day cold. Oh man, that's good. What about you? What are you gonna do in your life? You got books,
What?
you got jobs.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
else
yeah.
is there?
Just gonna keep working.
You gonna
Well,
become
I
a
guess my
lady?
plan, I have a goal of releasing 2 books this year since I didn't release one last year. It's very, very likely that I'll have 2 come out this year. two completely unrelated ones: the last book in the Western Sin trilogy, and then this new project I'm working on. So as far as like writing, that's like my big thing, is to get that stuff all squared away and put out. And then I declared this year the other day with some friends of mine at work that this is going to be the year of health. So my goal is
Oh,
to just make and I don't mean like, oh, we're gonna work out really well and diet and lose all this weight. It's like, no, I mean it like I just want to take some extra time throughout the year to just think about decisions that I'm making, and whether it's the healthy choice or it's a detrimental choice, or what's the healthier choice of the, of the bad choices, kind of thing. Um, and I started kind of doing this at the tail end of last year, but I don't know, it's kind of like a challenge to, like, when a decision comes my way, instead of just jumping on what seems like the obvious choice, to maybe think about it a little bit longer and then try to decide what the more of what the repercussions might be, try to make a healthier decision. Which could be something as small as like, oh, what am I going to have for dinner? I could have this or this. Well, I should have this. This is the healthier, just the choice, and it'll be better for me in the long term. Because I don't like the idea of like a diet. That's, because then it's just you're setting yourself up for failure with a diet most of the time. So it's more like I just wanted to focus on like trying to make healthier decisions just to have a better lifestyle generally. So yeah, that's kind of like
okay.
my big as far as like a resolution, quote unquote, would be the
Is it
year of health.
is it mostly related to food, or is it like mental health? Is it like
No, like mental health too. Like
traveling and where to go with your
mhm.
days? Like, should I go, sit on my ass or go for a walk or what?
No, no, exactly like that kind of stuff. Like last night, I got home from work, and I had actually gotten a bunch of writing done at work because it was a slow day. And so I was like, oh, cool, I could like come home and just like make dinner, kick back, play some games for a few hours before I go to bed, instead of, because usually I set aside like at least an hour every night to do some writing when I get home after dinner usually. And then I was like, instead of doing that, which I will do that, but first I'm gonna go take the dog out for a walk. So I just, instead of going home, eating dinner, and sitting down, I went home, made dinner, and then after dinner I took Dizzy out for like a 40-minute walk, and we just went for a nice long walk. And then I came back and I was still able to do like, the fun thing that I wanted to do,
Nice.
playing a game and stuff. So it's just kind of things like that, where it's like, what would I normally, like, what would I typically do in this situation? And then what can I do to be better in that situation? So it's like, I normally would come home and I don't have any obligations, so I'm going to chill. But instead of doing that right away, why don't I do this one extra thing that, only takes like a half hour or 40 minutes. And it's a big benefit for not only me, because I get a little extra exercise, but it's good for the dog, gets her out of the house for a little bit. So just kind of, that's like a basic, I guess, example, but
No, that's good. I think
um
that's something you can keep up because it's not too ambitious,
mhm,
and it's kind of more of a thought process than a restriction,
yeah.
which I think is really important toward becoming more healthy. Is not just being like, I'm going to be a totally different person, because that's not how it works. It has to be
Mhm.
slow, and it has to be um, like there has to be an incentive, and you have to be able to stick to it, and you have to slowly introduce new things. I think you're probably a fairly healthy person in general, but it's good to refocus on it as you create routines and you start to take things for granted, and you start to get a little lax because of excuses like the holidays, or excuses like
Yeah.
which I did too. I got above 150 pounds for the first time in like 4 years, and
Mhm.
I felt like I was a fat piece of shit. I like my body's dysmorphia like hit me really hard, and I was like at 151 pounds, which is like nothing. But for me, that's my goal. My goal is to
Yeah.
stay at 150 or less, and really I want to be less than 150. And I watched myself just get up and up, above 150, and I think I got to 151.8, and I was like, you piece of shit fat fuck. And so this week I was really disciplined, and I ate really well, and I exercised every day, and I'm back down below 150. And I think there's something good and weird about that as well. I
Well, I
think
was gonna
it's
say, I feel like
yeah.
it's good that you identified the steps to take to get back to your goal. But I feel like in the example of this, I feel like a healthier decision, right, would have been to forgive yourself a little bit, right? Be like, oh shit, I got a little lax during the holidays, like time to get back on track. Instead of, thinking like, oh, you fat piece of garbage.
Yeah,
Why don't you
yeah.
go back to home
That's
to
the
mama, you
that's
fucking douche?
that's the balance I need, is more
Yeah,
of
because
a like I can do it, don't worry about it.
yeah, because I mean I do that sometimes, like because I feel like sometimes the healthier decisions is to do nothing sometimes, right? Like let's say, for me, I get up 4 days a week at about 5:30 and I go run a 5K, do like a 20-minute total gym workout. But every once in a while, like maybe like once a month, I get up and I'm just dead fucking tired. And I'm like, I really don't feel like doing this. And then instead of guilt tripping myself, I'm like, you know what? Today's okay. Like, let's just take the day.
Just
Let's
don't
get
do
an
it.
extra hour of sleep. And then that way, and then what it does is it sort of, reinvigorates me for the next morning. Like the next morning when my alarm goes off, even if I'm a little tired, I'm like, you know what, I missed yesterday, so now I'm ready. Like we get like let's get back on the horse, kind of a thing. Whereas sometimes I feel like if you just continue to force yourself to do these things that you really don't feel like doing, it sort of pushes you away from wanting like to keep doing them because it's like a negative reinforcement almost. So I mean, I would encourage people to sometimes it's okay to just take a day and just not, or find
Yeah.
a way to make up for it later. If I miss a
Hmm.
run in the morning, maybe I'll go on an extra walk later. It's not
Hmm.
going to quite equate to the same amount of exercise,
Yeah.
but it's at least I'm sort of making up a deficit a little bit, and you can kind of forgive yourself a little bit more for
Yeah. I
missing
think
out a
the
little bit.
more you do what's actually healthy, the more you'll feel better, and that'll
Mm-hmm.
be an incentive to keep doing it. I notice immediately when I like eat really shitty for a few days,
Mm-hmm.
it just, I can feel it. And then if I like this week, I had a ton of energy. I got up and went to bed around the same time every day for the whole week, and it was all just like kind of allowed me to keep this routine of like being productive. And
Mm-hmm.
every day I came home around the same time, I ate, I played guitar, I drank my tea, I uh watched like kind of the same type of show, I exercised every day. I had this routine that was very easy to keep going because it uh like it didn't detract from its ability to continue,
Mm-hmm.
whereas negative behaviors tend to make it hard to do anything. And so like if you just kind of say fuck it for a while, then it's harder to get back into a good routine.
Yeah.
But today I gave myself the day off because for 5 days in a row I was very disciplined, and I my arms are all sore, and I lost some weight, and I'm like, I'm gonna drink a beer. I haven't exercised almost at all today. I'm gonna give myself a day of rest, and I did all my chores. I did like a ton of laundry, and I was still productive in different ways, but I
Yeah,
didn't.
exactly.
It doesn't have to be all routine all the time, or else I'm a piece of shit. Um, and um, and I played Dark Souls 2. You know what's funny is I think I already owned Dark Souls 2 on disc, but it was only $10, so I bought it. And I was
Oh,
like,
like
I
a
just want to
digital
make sure.
version of
Yeah, I
it.
bought the digital version. I'm like 99% sure I definitely own it, because when I downloaded the digital version, there were already two saves on my
Uh-huh.
PS4, and those are not from the PS3. So I must have already, I just wasted $10 on it.
Well,
But
now
then
you don't have to put the effort of putting a disc in and popping it back out later, It's
absolutely.
just
And I've
on the
I've
hard drive.
I've really I'm like 100% digital now. I've seen the light, and I think I'm
Yeah,
just
once
gonna
you
go
once you
digital.
really embrace digital, it's hard to go back. I mean,
I
like
just
I
don't see
have
why I want to go
the
buy a disc. I don't need it.
yeah.
You can download and delete stuff as
Well,
you're
and you're not
playing
the
them.
kind of person that's like goes and buys the new game, beats it really fast, and then trades it in for maximum trade value towards the like. You're
No,
not that
I
kind of.
love
I'm
to
not that
keep
kind of person either. I'm
games.
like, I'll just
Yeah.
whatever. I'll probably want to replay this again, maybe in a few years
I buy
or
like two
something.
games a year. I don't need to
Yeah,
like worry about selling them. There was something about the physical thing, kind of like a book, like it's on your shelf. You can look at it and be like,
yeah.
I played that game. It's a kind of trophy.
The
But
only
I'm not
physical media type thing I collect anymore are books like that,
books.
like
Yeah.
normal books, like, and
Yeah.
even that I only buy the books that I really like because I read most of the stuff on Kindle. And then
Yeah.
if I read a book on Kindle, like News of the World, I was like, that book was fucking awesome. So I
I want to
went on
own it. Yeah.
Amazon and bought like a hardcover version of it to put on my shelf because it's like I want
Yeah.
this in my collection. It was awesome. So
Well,
it's kind of like a
and you can,
curated
yeah,
list of books behind me of stuff that I really excited to read, and I'll reread it and stuff.
for sure. Speaking
for
of
sure.
excited to read, I got 3 new books from you, so thank you very much.
Yes. I hope you
It's
like them.
fun to get 3 books like on random days. Like it wasn't all at the same time. It was like book, a couple days later book, and it's like
Well, it's funny because when they originally shipped, they all were in one box, and then
oh
that
yeah,
whole fucking snafu happened where
yeah,
somebody got new books. We don't know
yeah,
who. And then when I put in the request, because I was like, I just need replacement books. I was like, I don't need my money back. I don't any. I was like, they were delivered to the wrong person. We can't find them. Can you just replace them with the same
yeah.
items? And then they like did some investigation thing, and then they were like, yeah, we will replace them. But they came from like different warehouses, I guess. I don't know, because they were like, yeah, it's gonna come on this one will be this day, then this day, then this day. I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. No, there's
It's
just
better. It's better if you're going to send them to my house because who knows what's going on there. What's interesting is I just got my cell phone replaced because I cracked the shit out of the screen, and I had it like sent to my home because I thought it would just go in the mailbox, but it
Mhm.
didn't. And it was just I was at work all day, and it was just sitting on my porch in front of my door. Anybody could have grabbed it. Got a brand new $200 phone. I probably would. They would have probably been lenient on me, but it's just weird that like sometimes things get stolen, sometimes they don't.
Well, in
I
the
don't like it.
delivery thing, they said they handed it to a resident. So I feel like
I don't think they
I'm
did.
wondering if that guy went to the wrong apartment or something and then
I think the
knocked
fucking goddamn FedEx person stole it.
or that. Yeah.
I
Maybe he
don't
was like, oh
believe
shit,
any
I
of
wanted
it.
to read these books. I'm just gonna take them.
I think they just picked a box that probably didn't seem like it was worth enough for somebody to really give a shit, and they fucking took it. I don't know. I don't trust it, but I know that I've gotten other things delivered and it's just sat on my fucking porch for a long
Mhm.
time and it wasn't a problem. And I know I have a couple of neighbors, but you'd have to go out of your way to like walk up the stairs to my apartment to grab my shit.
Mhm.
So I don't know. But next time, just send it to my work because that's where I send everything.
Yeah.
I
Lesson learned.
yeah, it's the
Well,
nice
I'm
thing about
glad that
working in a place like where I work, where we're getting packages every day.
yeah. Well, I'm glad that you got him one way or the other. You just had to wait a few
Yeah.
extra days. So.
Yep. And right now I'm actually working on the next book of Dune, and
Mhm.
I'm making my way through it pretty quick. And after that, I'll start on something else, and
Nice.
it'll be good. And I'll write a
Well, like I
review.
said, I hope you enjoy them. Those are
Well, and then your books will come
real.
out, and I'll read those.
Yeah.
I like it's like a steady thing in my life. Is like
Uh-huh.
I even if I don't read every single day, I read a lot. So um, it's nice to just have that to go back to.
Reading is like I just always do it at the end of the most of my
Yeah,
reading I do at night before I go to bed.
me
It's just like a
too.
really good way to sort of turn your brain off and focus it on one thing.
Yeah,
And then it just kind of it like lulls me to sleep. I
it
usually can
does.
read for about 20 or 30 minutes tops, and then I start nodding off, and then
Yeah.
I just
Once your eyes start
Mhm.
not keeping open, I'm like get through the
Yeah, you're trying to
chapter,
get to the end of
get
the
through the
chapter.
chapter. Sometimes you
Yep.
can't. I usually look to see how many pages
Yeah.
because some of these Dune books are fucking crazy. But normally I can get to the end of the chapter and it's a nice little discipline,
Hmm.
get to do it, and then you stop and you put it down, you're just fucking out. No
Yeah.
problem. You're not sitting there overthinking about too much. And you're tired, so you don't have to
Hmm.
worry about like, is it time to sleep? No, it's
Yeah.
I'm passing out. It's a it's like a really personal entertainment situation. It's not like watching TV where like um they come up with all the imagery. You come
Yeah.
up with all the imagery yourself. Anyway, we don't have to fucking jack off
Explain
all
how
over.
reading works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's mansplain reading for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Just I don't know if you know this, but we're like readers. It's
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes we're pretentious for sure.
yeah, of course. It's hard not to be when you run your own podcast.
I know it's hard
You
not
gotta
to
like
be.
the smell of your own farts at least a little bit.
I do like the smell of my own farts. Almost
Um,
every single time, for sure. Let
you
me
fart, you're
share.
like, ooh, that is good.
Let me plug my latest blog post here.
Well, please do.
I'll share it with the screen here. So I just put out a best of 2021 photo album. So please go to my blog, joesnotesblog.com, and check it out. It's got all the best photos from Hawaii, and then it's got all the best photos from the rest of the year. And I think there's some pretty damn good ones, like this one right here. This is probably one of the best
Yeah,
photos I've
that
ever
the
taken.
B one is really dope because I imagine that was tricky to get. Those are
Oh
small,
yeah,
fast little fuckers.
he's fucking flying. What I like about it is that it's really good, but I could do better, and I'm excited to like try again and do an even better one. And I have new strategies for doing that. But I also like this one a lot. This one's pretty
Oh,
cool.
fuck wasps. Yeah, no, great
I
picture.
know,
Fuck that
I
subject
know,
though.
right? But so I'm excited to take some new photos, and so please check out my photos, and look at them and share them, and I don't know, masturbate to them. I don't give a fuck.
There's
Um,
probably somebody out there who gets off on plants, exotic plants from Hawaii.
yeah, right. And you can check it out. I got animals, I got birds, I've got macro, I've
That snake
got,
one was cool because you like caught it with its mouth open.
yeah,
Like it
it's
looks
like,
like it's almost about to strike you.
yeah, it's focused right on the tongue, which is really nice. What's crazy is that snake's like 6 inches long. It
It looks
looks
bigger.
like a
Yeah.
lot bigger, but I used a macro lens and I was like on my like stomach, and I took like 1,000 photos of it because it was just fucking wouldn't run off. It just
Hmm.
kept on yelling at me as I got close to it. And I was like, thank you. You're a perfect fucking specimen. And I'm just gonna keep taking your pictures. It was like a baby, and it was just so like pissed off. It was just did not give a fuck. Um, so anyway, I like my photos. I want to take more. I just to me, like, some of them are like really exciting to me, and I want to take better photos,
Well, that's good.
more and
I
more
mean,
and
we
better.
should. I mean, everybody should always be kind of seeking improvement.
Yeah, I think I could do better.
That's how I feel every time I finish writing a book. I'm like, I really like this, and it turned out pretty much how I wanted it, but I can do better next time. Like it's like
There's
you try to take a lesson
little
from
things.
everything and
Yeah,
apply it to the next thing as much as you can.
for sure. Um, I think that's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Oh no, what? We
Oh.
got a fucking email from somebody. Let's fucking
Oh,
check
did
that out.
we?
Yeah,
Hey.
I'm so sorry. It's from our longtime fucking writer,
Oh
our
gosh.
emailer. What was it? It's not Diggus Bickus, or Biggest Dickus. What
Biggest
is it?
dick is.
Um, oh, what is it? Diggle Bigger Nick. I don't like this. Uh, I don't think that's a good name. I think it's a scary name to say out
It's a
loud.
scary name.
Okay, so this is I will read it verbatim so you don't
Oh,
think I'm
oh
making this shit
boy.
up. Joe, so he has a question for me and a question for you, okay?
Oh no. Okay.
So the question for me is, give me an example of a show, game, character, etc. that everyone loves but you cannot stand. You seem like a very calculated and reasonable person, and I would love to hear you rag on something that others enjoy. Hold nothing back. Like, this is it's just baiting. I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. I'm not like a really negative person. I'm sure I've said some shit about characters. I can't think of a character that everyone likes, but I'll try to think of an answer to that one. Channing, this one's to you. Tell us about the last fight that you were in. If you have not been in a fight before, just lie and make something up so we don't confirm that you are a soy boy beta cuck. Smooches.
Soy boy beta cuck. Jesus Christ, is that the
Yeah,
persona that
I
I've
guess so.
obviously created a persona here, being a
And it
soy
says
boy.
smooches bigger Nick. I really feel like this is a troll of a certain type. Obviously, that's the case. Let me think if I can think of an example of a character or a show or a game. I mean, there's so many games that, like, I mean, if I don't like it, I don't put a lot of effort into hating on it. There are definitely things that I like that I think a lot of people don't like. Um, but what's a character or something that people like but I don't like? Like, what is overrated in my opinion?
I can't tell your opinions for you.
No, you can't, and I
This
can't.
is this is all on you. I
Can't
I
think of
can't even
anything. I'm
really
trying to
help
think
you.
of like anything I watched lately that's like,
That
um,
everybody was just sucking the dick of, and you're like,
I
no
think
thanks.
I think Jim Gaffigan's a little overrated. But I get why people like him. He's like very, um, milk toast and
He just does
fun.
this voice a lot
Yeah.
in his
Oh my
stand-up.
god. It's
This guy's so weird.
yeah. Is he gonna keep talking like this?
Like when I watch the stand, I'm like, that's like half his act is just talking like that, just
Hmm.
assuming that he knows what everybody else is thinking. But some of his stuff is funny. I just yeah. He's kind of like a
Yeah.
Walmart comedian, you know. He's just sort of like most people
Yeah.
like him,
Walmart
but
comedian makes
he's
sense.
not he doesn't really bring anything super special to the table. Like
Yeah.
the
I'm just
McDonald's of comedians. Yeah,
um. What other
it's an
shows?
experience, but you sort of regret it when it's over.
Yeah, so that's it. I'm hating on Jim Gaffigan, even though I think he's actually a great stand-up. I think he's doing a great job.
If that's you
I just
hating on
don't
something,
enjoy
then
like most of his jokes. Um,
they're all food related, aren't they, for the most part?
there's a lot of like I'm a fat lazy Catholic going on there.
Yeah, that's most Catholics. That's just
Um,
like stating a lot of facts, but trying to put a comedian veneer over it.
okay, here's one that I think everybody
Oh,
gives too much credit
there
is
we go.
the new Spider-Man. You said you liked it. I
Mhm.
watched it. I was just like, okay, it was like I think they were trying too hard. I think that
Oh, like the fan service
just
has.
bringing everything in from all these other movies I've already seen that I don't give a fuck about. And it was like, there, it's maybe the same problem as Jim Gaffigan. It's just too sweet. It's too plain. It's too obvious. There's no, like, even the scariest goblin fucking dude, the Green Goblin guy, it's just Willem Dafoe being like kind of eccentric. Like I
Yeah, he's
don't,
just
he's
being
not
himself. He's just
scary.
kind of a kooky guy. Yeah.
He's and then spoiler alert for Spider-Man, Aunt May gets into a bit of a trouble. And it's like, fucking really? She just happens to be in the fucking wrong place at the wrong fucking
No, yeah.
time, even though she shouldn't be involved in any of this shit. Like, it's like if I was like a cop and somehow my mom died. Like, what? Because I'm a cop? Like, what is happening in the world? This never happens. It's like just they're just begging for all the beats. I also really didn't like any of the magic in it. Like, I don't the magic is the least impressive thing in Marvel to me, even though it's all magic. The actual magic dude
Yeah.
is the least exciting to me because he just like if he's so magical, he should just kill it. Like, why isn't he better? I don't. It doesn't make any sense. Like, he's fucking magic. He can just do his little swirly thing and just be somewhere else. Just why would you be in any problems? Doctor Strange sucks. That's the one person I really am not into. And I love Cumberbatch. Cumberbitch, blended bitch, flumber bitch. Um, but but he's like, okay, I'll just do whatever the kid wants. And he starts making this fucking crazy spell. And then halfway through, he's like, I can't change the fucking spell. Oh, it's getting away from me. And there's your movie. And it's
Yeah.
like, eat my dick. Like they didn't have one discussion about what to do about his fucking problem with everybody knowing who he is.
Yeah, you think they would have been very precise
Yeah, like, okay,
in
who do you
the
want to know? Who do you want not to know?
yeah.
I can do anything at all. Like, he can do it. He just didn't think to fucking ask. He's like, nope, nobody knows. Oh wait, everything's out of control, and now I put it in a little box, and then it
It
doesn't
reminded me
matter.
of
It's
getting like a
stupid.
wish from the genie, right? Where if you're not exactly precise with the conditions, the
Hmm.
wish ends up sucking. Like it, you know, that's kind of what it felt like. Was like he just assumed that he knew what Peter wanted, to started doing the spell, and then you find out, oh, actually, let's add this caveat in this one. And I thought that whole thing was weird. I was like, you think that a supreme sorcerer who's like the head
He
of
wouldn't
this
just do this
organization, like why would
massive.
he do that for the
Yeah,
kid? I mean, I know he tries to like turn him down, but it's like
not very hard.
yeah,
He
I
doesn't
don't
act
know.
like an adult. Like, why couldn't he just stop doing the stupid fucking spell? Like at the
Because it
like
was
at the
already
sec
started. There's
but
rules.
he's that's never been the case. That's
Yeah,
he's never had a
I don't know
spell
what the
that's like
rules of
gotten
magic
away
are.
from him to the point that it brings in other dimensions.
It's one of those movies that was just like it was fun to watch. You
Yeah.
just can't think that like any Marvel movie, you just can't think too much about it. You're gonna be like, wait, what?
No, but
You just
normally
sort
it's
of
not
like
that
just
shitty.
yeah, it's just like a roller coaster ride, really. You just watch it for the visual spectacle. It's a little
I
sweet here
think
and there, and then it's
I
over.
think because the you know what also pissed me off was, you know what grinds my gears
Here we go.
is
Now you're
the
on the rant.
fucking the trailer for Uncharted with the 12-year-old as as Nathan Drake.
Yeah,
What
Tom
the
Holland.
fuck are y'all thinking? Like, he looks so young. Like, Nathan Drake is like a 37-year
Something,
old.
yeah.
You know, he's like 40 almost. He's not like young. He's like hardened dude who's been doing this for a long time. He's more like Harrison Ford in the fucking Indiana Jones, but much
Yeah.
more physical
Hmm.
and can shoot and stuff. And you have the youngest actor in the world playing this character. And then you have Mark Wahlberg, who also looks way too young to play the old dude in the fucking show. It's like it takes all the kind of grizzled nature of Uncharted out of it. Like,
Yeah.
Uncharted is like rough. It's not polished and new. I
Yeah,
was
the movie's gonna not be
makes me
good.
annoyed.
Yeah, I when we watched the trailer, I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna. This is no.
He looks
I
like
feel
he
like they're
should be
just gonna
going
have
to
a bunch of fan
school.
server-y moments to like
Yeah.
set piece moments from the games, and then they're gonna be like, hey, see, it's an Uncharted movie, and it's not. Yeah, it's not gonna be good.
It's obviously trying to appeal to like a
Mhm.
12 to 18-year-old audience. It's just that movie that or the Uncharted games are 18 years old. They're
Yeah,
not
been
new
around
games.
since like 2000. The first one came out in 2006. Yeah,
I
about
don't know.
15, almost 16 years ago.
It's silly.
Yeah, it's not going to be. I don't know what it is, but companies have the hardest time like adapting video games into movies, and most of them just don't need to be adapted.
Yeah.
Why watch an Uncharted movie when you can just go fucking play one of the games again? The games aren't that long; they're like 6, 7 hours, and you're just basically playing through a blockbuster movie at that point. So why not just go
It's
play the
the
game again?
story's so good in the Uncharted, and I think you can even like do it in like a more like easy mode, story mode,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh
just
yeah,
just essentially it's all just cake walks for the
yeah. The
action part.
gunfights are really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. I am in like speaking of adaptations, I'm curious to see what the Last of Us show turns out to be because HBO's doing it. And it's going to be like a show. So it's like I'm fascinated to see because a lot of problems, with those adaptations is that you're taking an 8 to 10 hour game and turning it into a 90-minute movie. So it's
Mm,
like it just doesn't translate. But
sure.
if you take the time and you're doing like a 10 episode season of a show, so you're giving yourself like 10 hours to explore a story more. I feel like there's a lot more potential there. So I'm hoping that and they have a good cast. Pedro Pascal is going to be
Well,
Joel,
yeah,
and so I think like the
that
Last
makes
of
more
Us show is going to
sense.
be good.
He
And
kind
the
of looks
guy
like him.
who wrote and directed the game he helped write and direct the
Yeah.
show as well. So it's like
Well,
they have people from the studio
that's
involved.
my biggest problem with the new Dune movie is it's this massive epic story,
Hmm.
and it needed a show. It needed
Yeah.
it needed every chapter needed its own episode, or every two chapters, because
Hmm.
it's like, whatever, 30 chapters. But it just condensing all of it into 2.5 hours for Dune for the first, even for the first half, just is
Hmm.
not enough. It's so deep, it's just not enough. But most books are just, they don't take the time to really do a good job with the
Well, I feel like
movies.
in the case of Dune, it was an opportunity for them to distill something that's very kind of dry but deep into something that's like a little bit more fast paced and entertaining. That has like similar concepts and the same basic story structure.
Yeah,
It's like a way to get the story to a larger audience, and so because
I get it.
I
I just
mean,
don't care because I care about the books,
right?
and
That's
because
because
I'm
you're the
so entrenched
diehard
in the
fan,
books.
yeah.
But I also don't think that this is going to be so exciting that it's going to like beat Marvel. So why not why why not pay the fan service for something that's so, you know, such a legacy title?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would have
I
been
think they
for
could have
sure
done it
better
a
as a
lot better.
show. Yeah, they
Like
could
Game of
have done.
Thrones, like the Game of Thrones shows, they took their time to really figure it out, and
Mhm.
that's why it was successful, I think, because there's so much content that they have there. But
You
whatever,
should
I'm never going to be happy.
did you have you watched the Dune movie from like the 80s? If you haven't, you should definitely try to watch. You should watch it. Something else.
Yeah, if I could find it, I would probably watch it.
I
I
think
just
I
think I
mean
would hate it.
it's fucking wild because I mean it's basically as long as the new Dune movie, but it covers the whole book instead of only half of it. So it's like even further distilled down, and yeah, it's interesting. It's like watching somebody's like fucking crack fever dream or something. It's really weird.
I've seen enough. I watched like a documentary on it, and it was
Yeah.
fucking insane. So let's get to your question here,
Oh yeah,
Mister
the last fight I was
Soy
in.
Boy Beta Cuck.
So the last time I
Um,
got into a fight
do you any
was when
fist
I was
fights?
training my German Shepherd because she tried to be the alpha of this household. And so
Mm-hmm.
what I had to do is I had to strip naked so that I was on an
Mm-hmm.
even playing field. I got on all four, right? Hands and knees. I got on her level and we fucking duked it out. I mean, there's some bite marks on my torso from where she had thrashed me a couple times. I bit
Nice.
her. She's missing one of her ears because I'd ripped it off. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of a last ditch effort to earn her respect. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was probably a good 15-minute bloody tussle. And I had to replace the carpet in my living room and wash the walls because there was kind of just blood everywhere.
Nice.
But now she respects me and listens to everything I say, you know. I just stand over her and do a low growl if she's not listening or not doing something that I find appropriate, and she immediately cowers and just lays down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I made her my beta.
Mm-hmm.
So I became the alpha dog quite literally. It just didn't feel appropriate to do it with like clothes on. I feel like maybe it would give me some kind of advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So it was naked mano a mano
Mm-hmm.
dog wrestling. It was scary. I had to go to the hospital. I had to get some stitches, but in the end, I won.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, the killing blow is I threw her off of me. I pounced on her and I literally put my teeth on her throat and bit down
Mm-hmm.
just hard enough to make her squeal. And then I held her there for about 5 minutes
Till she stopped.
until she stopped thrashing, stopped trying to get up.
She
Um,
figured it out.
there's a lot of fucking hair in my mouth. That was almost harder
Did
to
you
deal
like
with.
piss on her and spit on her too? Like fuck you,
I might have
bitch.
peed a little bit, but not like intentionally. I think it might
Just
have just come out because I was
little
fighting for my
panicky,
life at one
little
point.
panicky.
But yeah, that was the last fight I was in.
Hell yeah, dog.
I'm gonna tell you, if you think that fighting another human being is the hardest thing you've ever done, try fighting a German Shepherd, like a fully grown 80-pound German Shepherd, mano a mano.
Fucking wiry
No
fuck.
clothes, no weapons, just what fucking science gave you when you shot out of your mom's vagina, or what biology gave you, I
I was
guess, in this
doing
case.
some internal math there.
I was
Trying
gonna
to
say what
figure,
God
wait,
gave you,
what?
but like we're a bunch of heathens in this
You know what
show.
you
So.
know what, speaking of God, and thank you for your story.
Yeah, of course.
My fucking weird ass drug addled neighbor boy was sitting on the porch smoking a cigarette the other day, and I walked past him and he goes, you know, have a good night, God bless. And I go, you know what, God bless you. And I just knew that it would be
It would
something
make
he
his
would
night.
appreciate.
Yeah.
Like he really does need God, you know, to help him out. Like
He's gonna
he's
need God when
very
he's got lung cancer in 10 years from all the fucking cigarettes he's
well,
smoking.
and
He's gonna
he's
need a
I
lot of
mean
God.
he's a drug addict. Like he does lots of hard drugs, and I
Oh,
know it.
okay. Yeah, he's
And
definitely gonna
so
need God. So
I it was the first time that I used God in a way that wasn't sarcastic, ironic, critical. I just did it because I knew that it didn't matter my position on God. What mattered was just saying something nice to this dumb kid.
mhm.
And I think it makes me a fucking priest now or something. Like, isn't that what that is? Isn't that
What
doesn't
if
that
he's
make me
like
a good person?
miraculously cured the next time you see him? He's like, you know, after you
Oh
said
Jesus.
God
That's
bless
way
me
too
the other
much.
night, like I haven't had any
You
desire
know what
to
you know what it is?
stab myself in
I,
the arm with
I,
a
I,
heroin needle.
I don't want him to rob me. And I think that might be my major
See,
motivation in
that's
being
why
nice to
inherently
people.
we're all selfish because
There is
if
a
you're doing
motivation
nice
there.
things for people, it's usually like if you're a devout Christian and you're out volunteering and doing all this nice stuff, you're doing it so you can get into heaven, you fucking asshole. Like you're not
There is
doing
a
it because you
motivation
care.
there.
You don't
Yeah.
care about the dirty homeless person you're serving the soup to. You're just like, oh, look at this nice thing I did. God, please let me through the pearly gates. This is a Jewish Christian person that I was impersonating. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he converted. Oh, I used to not believe in hell, but now I do, so I need to be good. Oh
I
gosh.
need a lot of negative reinforcement. So the
Oh,
fact that I could burn an entire fire.
it reminds me of the Holocaust. The hell reminds me of my ancestors dying there. Oh, Jesus saves. That is a fucking great character. Is the excessively Jewish New York Christian
Freshly converted Christian. Yeah.
who's just like, have you heard about our Lord Savior, Jesus Christ? Oh, I know most of my family doesn't believe, but I believe in him now.
He died for my sins. You know what I did? I came home from the church and I tore off my yarmulke and I stomped it into the dirt where it belongs.
I said, no more juice for me. Judaism or whatever it's called. I don't even know what it is anymore. I can barely say Jew or something. Hey, Jude, like the song. Hey, not anymore a Jude. I'm now Christian. Actually, my mom did that. She doesn't sound like she went from Orthodox, not Orthodox, but like a Jewish upbringing and became Christian. And my dad became Christian from Catholicism, which is a kind of like hardcore Christian, I guess, Catholicism.
I want to meet one person that went from atheism to like Mormonism, you know?
I bet that happens for sex. Like you meet a girl, she's Mormon, you got to convert.
But so are you really converting, or you're just like,
I believe in God. See,
I went in for the Mormon poon, you know?
Yeah, I gotta have that Mormon poon. Because that's fucking like a big thing. Yeah, I want to give up all my fucking freedoms for Mormon poon. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
That's exciting. I'm gonna move to Salt Lake City and
going to the land of Utah.
No more alcohol for me. See, gonna live a pure
I'm an
life.
alcoholic, and this is the best way for me to get clean. See, I get the Mormon poon, and I get to be clean.
Yeah, save me, save me from my sins.
Oh, it's not the 50s.
Well, I'm thinking like 30s. That's like I think that's 30s, 20s, something. I don't think anybody ever talked like that. Oh, last thing to plug is going to be I'm going to try to Twitch from my PS4 when I get Elden Ring.
Ooh, so very nice.
I'm not trying to like buy a fucking PC and be a big fucking Twitch person, but I think I'd like to share the game, share my playthroughs, and do a little chatting on the old Twitch for Elden Ring. I think that'd be fun. And I was playing around with it with Dark Souls 2. So if anybody want to watch me, I'm LuckFno2 on Twitch, and you can check that out if you want.
That's Luck with a K, just a K, right?
LUKEFNO2, LuckFno1 or 0 or nothing with the numbers is on Xbox, and I don't have an Xbox, so I made 2 for the PS network.
Oh, okay.
The penis network.
Wait, that was was LuckFno your Xbox?
It was my original Xbox gamer tag. So then I'm
still trying to get a new Xbox so you can play Halo.
I'd love to have all the things. Send me money. I'll take it.
All the things. Send money, please help.
The Jew in me says, "Don't spend money, invest." And the
American in you says, "Go buy this sweet new 22 revolver."
Play games. I'm almost 40. I need more gaming. I don't have children.
Hey, I listened to a really cool podcast a couple weeks ago about they interviewed this guy who is like a retired police officer, and he's in his 70s or 80s, and he's been playing video games since like 1972. He's like hardcore into games. He's like the only like he grew up like when they started and has just been playing. Like he was talking about how he was walking the beat that he had. Goddamn, or he lives in Texas somewhere like Arlington or something like that. And he had a toy store on his beat, and he knew the guy who owned the toy store. And so this guy who owned the toy store was just showing him all these cool new. He showed him like Pong and shit when he got it in the store, and he said that he just for whatever reason it really clicked with him, and he's just played video games since like 1972. It's like his fucking thing. And he's like talking about how like Witcher 3 is like one of his favorite games, and he's just this little old retired man who's just like super into it. It's really cool. It was like one of the like only times that I've heard from somebody like of that age that's like really into games. You know, most people that age, they were too late when video games became prevalent, and they thought they were a waste of time, etc. So it's kind of cool. He was talking about how like his 22-year-old grandson's like one of his best friends because they get on and play games online together and stuff, and they like it's like something that they really bond over. But it was like a cool like 45-minute conversation that I listened to in this podcast. It was fun to like listen to some guy who's been there for like since the beginning and has been playing like nonstop. He's talking about how he doesn't really read or watch movies or TV that much. Like gaming is his thing. Like he just enjoys playing games. He says that he doesn't like Grand Theft Auto and stuff because he talked about how he spent most of his life as a police officer, and so he's like the fantasy games are more what he's into because he kind of lived through like the things that you would try to do in Grand Theft Auto. So he's like, I don't really care for those kinds of games, but
Yeah.
like the fantasy stuff and sci-fi, and I don't know. It was an interesting conversation. Anyway.
No, it sounds really cool. It's kind of like a kindred kind of spirit because
Yeah.
I started playing when I was really young, but it was still pretty new when I was young. So I remember playing Pong at on the Atari with or on a computer. I don't know what it was. I remember an Atari and a Pong. I don't remember. It was
It
did
probably
Pong
was on
have a
Atari. I
Atari?
don't
I think
remember.
there was just a version of it on there or something like
I'm
that.
sure.
And it was at my like a preschool, like a after school like daycare, something like that, when I was really young. So it's kind of it's interesting. Video games are they're just a part of life. It's
Yeah, I've been
just
playing
the way
since
it
I was
is.
like 4.
Yeah.
Contra on the Nintendo. That was the first game I ever played. But what's weird for me is it was like an activity that I always kind of felt a level of shame for enjoying growing up, because like my mom played games. She was like the only one in my family who was like into games also, but like the rest of my family, especially on my dad's side, all just told me they were a waste of time. I shouldn't be playing. Like, it's like the typical thing you would hear in the late 80s and 90s and stuff before. I mean, now it's like the biggest thing in the fucking world in terms of entertainment industry. But it's interesting to have lived through a time where it was like you were a loser or a nerd or whatever, for enjoying video games and playing them. And now it's like the cool thing. It's like weird when you meet people who don't play games, even if it's just Fortnite or where the fuck people play. But so it's like weird sometimes to like talk about video games with people, because I remember so much when I was a kid being like made fun of for playing games. So if like I would try to talk to somebody about games, like, oh, you're a fucking dork, why are you playing games? And then now it's like when you start talking about it, people get like all excited, and it's like it evolves in this big conversation. And then I feel sort of uncomfortable about it, because I'm like, oh, I remember a time when somebody would have fucking punched me in the dick and called me a loser for playing fucking Mario or something. Same as like Star Wars and Marvel. I'm like, dude, all this is the shit that I got made fun of for enjoying as a kid. I remember like trying to talk to other kids in my class when I was like in first grade about Star Wars, because I was so into it, and like none of them had watched it, or they were like, what the fuck is that? What are you talking about? And now it's like suddenly everybody's sucking on a lightsaber dick, just loving it.
They are. They love that shit. Every like other fucking Instagram fucking story or reel or whatever is a fucking some nerd talking about some obscure fucking Star Wars fact. The only Jedi to beat fucking Yoda was this one fucking Jedi, and he was super humble, and he beat him in a duel, and he made a big deal, and it was a big deal. It's like, no, it wasn't real. Shut the fuck up. Video games.
It wasn't real video games.
I don't know. I'm done.
Hello.
Go to fleetingthoughtspodcast@gmail.com on your email system and send us a stupid fucking question. Or send us something.
I'll answer any question. I'm not afraid.
Ask questions or tell us your problems and we'll solve them.
It's true. Oh yeah, we're great problem solvers.
Yeah, it's what we do for a living.
Yeah.
You solve like calendars and medicine, and I do.
Those are the only two things I've ever solved, actually. Calendars and medicine.
Those fucking standard problems. Tell us about your favorite video games. Tell us about your New Year's resolutions. Tell us about your whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And we'll read it on the internet and make fun of you. It'll be perfect. Go to joesnotesblog.com. Go to fleetingthoughtspodcast.com. Go to amazon.com
and just search Channing Cornwall.
Do that.
Yeah.
Read those books.
Read them. Read them and weep, bitches.
Read Hell Came With Her. Read Breathed Out by God. Read Anathema. Read The World Carried On. I think those are the ones that
Those are the ones you've read.
I think those are all the ones I've actually finished. No, there was a Kingdom in the Sky I finished a long time ago. And then I read through some of your short stories. And then there was a romance book that I did.
No, In Romantic Dreams.
Yeah, I didn't finish that.
That's like a haunted house book.
I think I liked Anathema more than that one.
Oh yeah.
As far as your like horror genre.
Anathema and World Carried On are like my two best.
Oh yeah.
Still, like those are my two favorite.
Yeah, they might be.
I mean, I enjoy the westerns a lot too, but I don't, those two in specific are
They are really good.
hit exactly like how I wanted them to hit and came together really well.
For sure. All right.
Cool.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.